You see them before you hear them. A figure on the far ridge where the land meets the sky. They are walking toward your camp, and your body has already made a decision your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Your heart speeds up. Your shoulders tighten. Your eyes lock onto their hands. For most of human history, this was the most dangerous moment of your life. Not a lion, not a snake, not a falling cliff, a person you did not recognize. 50,000 years ago, a stranger could get you killed. And, looking like a stranger, could get you killed even faster. Today, you walk past hundreds of unfamiliar faces before lunch. You share trains, elevators, sidewalks, and airports with people you will never see again, and almost none of them want you dead. But the alarm system inside you was not built for that world. It was built for this one, and it is still running. So why did your ancestors fear the unfamiliar so deeply? And why does a small, ancient part of you still flinch at difference, even when you wish it wouldn't? Let's go back. For roughly 300,000 years, your species lived in small bands. Not cities, not nations. Just a few dozen people who knew each other by name, by smell, by the sound of their footsteps in the dark. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar studied the size of human social networks and found a striking ceiling, around 150. That's roughly the number of people any one human can truly know and trust. This is now called Dunbar's number. Beyond it, faces blur into the category of stranger. Inside that circle, life depended on cooperation. The band shared food, shared childcare, shared the exhausting work of survival. To betray the group was to die. To be cast out was to die. Your safety was not in walls or weapons. It was in belonging. So your ancestors became experts at one specific skill, reading whether a face belonged to us or them. And they read it fast. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Henri Tajfel ran a series of experiments that quietly unsettled everyone who understood them. He divided strangers into groups based on something completely meaningless. A coin flip. A guess about dots on a screen. People who had never met, who shared nothing, who knew the groups were random, and almost instantly those people began favoring their own group and shortchanging the other. This is called the minimal group paradigm, and the word minimal is the disturbing part. It takes almost nothing. The human mind will draw a line between us and them on the flimsiest excuse, and then defend that line as if it were real. Tajfel's subjects were modern people in clean rooms with no danger at all. Now imagine that same instinct, sharpened across thousands of generations, in a world where the wrong stranger really could be coming to take your food, your water, or your life. How would you tell friend from threat at a distance? You couldn't ask. You might not even share a language. So you learn to read the body itself. The way someone wore their hair, the pattern of scars on their skin, the beads strung around their neck, the shape of the tools on their hip, the accent in their voice, the moment they spoke. These were not decorations. They were signals. A walking badge of which group you belong to. The anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years among the Sand people of the Kalahari, and she documented something fascinating about their craftsmanship. Even the shape of a stone arrowhead carried meaning. Different groups made theirs in slightly different styles, and those styles marked identity, telling others where a person came from and who would stand behind them. Wiesner called this kind of marking style, and showed it was a language written in objects. Your beads spoke before your mouth did. We have proof this goes back deep into the past. At Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found small shell beads, pierced and worn smooth from being strung together, dating back tens of thousands of years. People were decorating themselves long before they were farming, writing, or building. Why spend precious hours making jewelry in a world where survival hung by a thread? Because identity was survival. The right ornament told the right people you were one of them, and the wrong one told them you were not. Here is where the story turns dark, because the evidence is written in bone. In the Nile Valley, at a site called Jebel Sahaba, archaeologist Fred Wendorf uncovered one of the oldest cemeteries ever found. Buried within it were dozens of skeletons, many of them carrying the marks of violence. Stone projectile points lodged in bone, healed and unhealed wounds, men, women, and children. This was not a single bad day. Recent reanalysis suggests these people suffered repeated attacks across their lives, the signature of long-running conflict between groups. Far to the south, at a place called Nataruk near Lake Turkana in Kenya, the researcher Marta Mirazon-Lar and her team uncovered something even more haunting. The remains of a small group of hunter-gatherers killed roughly 10,000 years ago, crushed skulls. Embedded blades, a pregnant woman among the dead. There were no walls here, no city to conquer, no farmland to seize, just one band of humans destroying another. The oldest scenes of human warfare we have found are not battles between armies. They are massacres between neighbors who looked, spoke, or carried themselves differently. So let's reconstruct a day. The sun is climbing. You are crouched at the edge of camp, scraping a hide when the children go quiet. You look up. There, on the ridge, is the figure you feared. They are closer now. You can see the hair worn in a style you don't know. The beads at their throat are a pattern your people don't make. They move differently. They are alone, or maybe they are not, and that uncertainty is the worst part. Your band gathers behind you. No one speaks the decision out loud, but everyone feels it. This stranger is a question with only a few answers, and most of them end in blood. Maybe they come in peace, looking to trade or to marry into the group, or to ask for water in a dry season. Maybe they are scouting. Maybe behind that ridge are 20 more. You cannot know, and in a world without police, without courts, without second chances, the cost of guessing wrong is your entire family. So the instinct that kept your ancestors alive was not curiosity. It was caution that bent, very easily, into hostility. Now, here is the twist. The part that makes this more than a story about fear. The very same instinct that made your ancestors capable of killing an outsider is the instinct that made them capable of dying for an insider. The economist Samuel Bowles has spent years modeling early human conflict, and he describes a trait he calls parochial altruism. Break the word down and it's simple. Parochial means loyal to your own narrow group. Altruism means sacrificing for others. Put them together and you get the strange, beautiful, terrible truth of human nature. We are wired to be extraordinarily kind, generous, and self-sacrificing toward the people we count as ours, and that same wiring can make us cold or cruel toward the people we count as theirs. The warmth and the hostility are not two different traits. They are one trait pointed in two directions. The love a parent feels carrying a child to safety and the suspicion a band feels watching a stranger approach come from the same ancient root. You cannot have one without inheriting the risk of the other. And language only deepened the divide. The evolutionary biologist Mark Pagel has pointed out something curious about human speech. We have around 7,000 languages, many of them clustered in places where groups lived close together. If language were only for communicating, this makes no sense, because mutual understanding would be useful. But if language is also a badge, a way to instantly tell who is in your tribe and who is not, then thousands of mutually unintelligible tongues start to make sense. The first time someone opened their mouth and the wrong sounds came out, your ancestors knew, not one of us. Which brings us back to you. You do not live in that world anymore. There is no ridge, no band, no stranger walking toward your camp with unknown intentions. And yet, notice the flicker of judgment when you meet someone whose clothes, accent, or appearance is unfamiliar. Notice how naturally you sort people into your kind and not your kind, by accent, by team, by flag, by the smallest cues. Notice how good it feels to belong to a group, and how quickly that warmth can curdle into contempt for the group across the line. Notice it in a stadium, notice it in a comment section, notice it in yourself. That flinch is not a flaw in you. It is a 50,000-year-old reflex doing exactly what it evolved to do in a world that no longer exists. Your ancestors who felt it survived to become your ancestors. The ones who walked toward every stranger with open arms more often did not. But here is the gift that no ancient human had. You can see the reflex for what it is. You know its name, you know its age, you know it was built for a band of 150 people on a dangerous plane, not for a planet of 8 billion who mostly want the same things you do. And the moment you can name an instinct, you are no longer simply obeying it. You get to decide, in the half second after the flinch, what to do next. The stranger on the ridge was a genuine gamble for your ancestors. The stranger on the train is not. The ancient alarm still fires, faithful as ever, warning you about a threat that is almost never there. You cannot delete it, but you can outgrow it, one conscious choice at a time. So the next time a figure you don't recognize walks toward you, and your body reacts before your mind catches up, you'll understand exactly what just happened inside you, and how old it really is. You see them before you hear them, and for the first time in 50,000 years, you get to decide that they are not a threat, they are just a person, like you.